everyone, it's Nina. Thanks for joining me today for a new video. I have 3 different cards to share with you today, all of which are using contents from the new Simon Says Stamp Mother's Day card kit. It's a limited edition kit, so if you like this kit, you're definitely going to want to grab it while supplies last because this is only available in limited quantities. It's a really sweet kit, and honestly, you can use it for so much more than Mother's Day. So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you the 3 projects I made with the kit, and I'll be using many of the contents that are included, so hopefully this gives you a great idea on what you can do with this kit when you get it. I'm going to start first by sharing this really pretty flower card with you. I used some of the fun embellishments that are included in the kit. These are some nice big chunky gems, and there are also some really pretty alcohol ink bottles included in the kit. I'm going to use those alcohol inks to color the gems. So what you're seeing me do is I'm just dripping the colors on top of the gems, trying to make sure I cover all the different areas of the gem, making sure there's no areas that don't have any color on them. And then this will dry, and it dries fairly quickly too. So I would say in about 20 minutes these were ready to go. Meanwhile, I worked on coloring one of the coloring cards that's in the kit. So these gems are going to go on top of the flowers, and they're going to embellish them really well. I'm using Copic markers to do the coloring for this coloring card. I used a lot of bright springy colors, kind of inspired by the pattern papers that are included in this kit. If you're interested in the exact Copic colors that I used, I do have everything listed over on my blog so that you can reference that and use those color combinations if you like any of them. Then I moved on to the stems and leaves. Now the stems actually don't need any coloring because they're just a single line, but the leaves I colored with a few green markers. I went for a nice springy green on this one. I used my fine tip scissors to fussy cut this image out, and then I'm going to start attaching this onto my card. This is an A2 size card, and I cut one of the pattern paper sheets down so that it's slightly smaller than my A2 size card. I really liked this fun background, and I thought it would look really cute behind the flowers. This paper sheet is what inspired the Copic colors that I used on my card. After attaching the pattern paper, I also brought in some foam tape to attach the flowers on top of that as well. And you'll notice I cut off the bottom portion of the flowers so that way everything has a nice even edge. Here I'm going to bring in those gems and I'm going to stick them onto the different flowers. You'll notice I colored a few the same color, and that was because I wasn't sure exactly which colors I wanted to use, so I wanted to have extra. There are some sentiment stickers in the kit which I'm going to attach down onto a piece of black cardstock. The reason I'm putting it onto cardstock is because I want to put this sentiment on top of my flowers, but it's bigger than the flowers themselves. So I need something that's going to not have any stickiness on the backside. So by sticking it onto some cardstock, then I can just use some liquid glue right on top of the flowers so that I can adhere the sentiment down. To further embellish the card, I did bring in some green droplets, and I'm going to put these around the flowers just to add a little bit more dimension and embellishment, and it really goes nice with those large, chunky embellishments that are from the kit. The green ones aren't part of the kit, but they were something I had in my stash. Alright, now let's move on to my second card. This one uses the really large "You Mean the World to Me" die. I think that's a great greeting. I loved it so much I wanted to make sure I cut it from some of this rainbow striped paper that's included in the kit. Now I want this stripe pattern to kind of go at an angle, so I'm going to align the die on my paper in a way that's going to capture that nice movement. And this sentiment will get layered up on top of this dotted background that has those same rainbow colors in it. I'm going to pull out the stamp set that's included in the kit. This one's called Better with Mom, and there are many different images that are included in the I actually illustrated this stamp set. For my card that I'm creating here, I wanted to use the leaves and the butterflies. So I'm going to stamp these onto some Hammermill white cardstock, and I'm using Simon Says Stamp Intense Black ink to do the stamping. Once I have the butterflies and the leaves stamped, I did stamp one more butterfly so that way I could have a total of 3. I plan on having a trio of butterflies flying across my sentiment. Then I pulled out some Copic markers and I'm going to do some coloring. Very simple coloring on the leaves. I just did some 2-color shading here. One is the lightest color I did the base coat with, and then I just added a simple line of shading on each leaf. Very quick and easy. And I did that for both leaf stems that are stamped here. Moving on to the butterflies, I colored them with some very simple shading as well. I did 3 colors for each, and I used just a simple darkest color in the middle section of the butterfly and then fading out towards the edges with the lightest colors. And I did that for both the pink, blue, and also the yellow color. Once I had all the images colored, I cut everything out. There are coordinating dies for all these things. And I'm going to start layering pieces together. So you can see where I'm going here. I have the card on my left and I'm starting to stack up some die cuts for the sentiment. I cut the sentiment from some soft navy cardstock and I die cut it twice, stacked those two pieces together, and then finally I'm stacking the rainbow stripe sentiment on top of that stacked layer. That's going to give me a slightly more dimensional greeting that I can then put onto the shadow layer that's included in the die set. This is also cut from some soft navy cardstock, and that's because I really didn't want too much of a shadow layer. I just kind of wanted to create some separation between the polka dotted pattern and also the stripes. So I'm going to use foam tape to attach this sentiment onto my card. I'm kind of picking up the leaves as I'm doing this because I'm going to also pop the leaves up too. So I'm just going to stick a few dots of foam tape behind a few sections of the leaves because most of the leaf has already been adhered down because we have the foam tape underneath the sentiment and that trapped the leaves underneath. For the butterflies, I'm using liquid glue. And I've cupped the butterflies a little bit so that way the wings look a little bit more fluttered. They're a little bit more dimensional, so they're a little curled. So by curling the wings, we get that nice dimensional look like the butterflies are really flying over this card. And I just glued the 3 butterflies in different sections around my greeting to really embellish things. Finally, my third card is going to use the flower bundle die set that's included in the kit, and I'm going to create a custom bouquet. I'm going to start first by taking the dies and cutting them out from scraps of cardstock that I had in my stash. This is a great technique for using up some of those scraps of papers that you have because we're going to be doing a lot of die cutting with small pieces. So I started first by cutting the flower wrap. This is like a little paper bag that the flowers would come in. And I'm also going to start die cutting some leaves. Oscar, of course, had to join in and be part of the action, so he's going to be sitting here a while I do all this die cutting. I die cut the leaves from 2 different colors of cardstock just for a little bit of variation. And then I'm going to move on to cutting that little bow that comes with the die set. So I'm going to cut this from some darker pink cardstock. That'll look cute on the Nina Desert Storm cardstock that we used for the paper bag. Then I'm going to cut out the flowers. There's this little burst looking die. That's going to be your flower. And I'm going to die cut this from a few different colors of cardstock so that way I have a nice assortment of colors for my flowers. I also cut the little flower stem that is included in the die set and the little circle die that's included in the set. That's the flower center. So we're going to layer these pieces together to create our little custom bouquet. You can see I've already attached a couple of the leaves to the back side of our little flower wrap, and I'm starting to stick some of the flowers themselves inside. So I'm using liquid glue to help me do this because that's going to allow me to kind of fiddle things around a little bit before committing to the final placement. So if I need to kind of shimmy things around while the glue is still wet, I have that opportunity to do so. Some of the flowers, you don't even have to have the stems attached to them. You can just glue the flower right onto the bouquet itself. This little bow just makes this whole thing look super, super cute. So I'm going to finish up the layering by adding one more leaf branch, and then we're ready to let this sit aside and dry while we work on assembling the card base. So the card base I'm creating is an A2 size card, and I've cut one of the pattern papers that are included in the kit from a chunky scalloped rectangle die set from Simon. Once I attached that, I used foam tape to layer up my flower bouquet right into the center of this card. I love the combination of these colors with the denim. I think the denim adds a really nice warm touch to the card. I'm using a sentiment from the Better with Mom stamp set that's part of your kit, and I'm going to stamp this with embossing ink onto some gray cardstock. Once I have it stamped, I'll use some white embossing powder to sprinkle over top of the sentiment, and then I'll set that with my heat tool so I have a really nice crisp white greeting on top of this gray cardstock. My plan is to cut this out. There are coordinating dies for this set, and you have the sentiments included in that, but I don't have the die set, so I'm just going to go ahead and fussy cut. The sentiment is going to get popped up along the bottom portion of my card with some foam tape. I made sure to also put the ends of the bow kind of over top of the greeting so it layers it up a little bit. And then my final embellishment was to take that little tiny circle die that's part of the flower bundle set, and I die cut that a bunch of different times from some white cardstock, and I'm layering those little dots on each scallop of my scalloped rectangle. So this is a little bit tedious, but it turned out so cute, and it adds that really nice finishing touch to the edges of this card. I think it really made everything look super sweet and has that country feel to it. So those are all the cards that I made with the Simon Says Stamp limited edition Mother's Day card kit. There's so much you can do with it, and as you can see, you could turn any of these cards into anything even besides Mother's Day. You could use these as birthday cards, miss you cards, so many options with this kit. So I hope you will check it out, and I hope you were inspired by the cards that I shared today. If you enjoyed this video, I hope you'll give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to my channel for additional inspiration. I post videos frequently with lots of different ideas, so I hope you will enjoy what I share. Until I see you all again, I hope everyone has a very wonderful day, and thanks so much for watching. Bye!